coming up on BCN Today. A special memorial tonight to honor a prominent First Nations leader. And Canada has no plans to screen incoming passengers for the deadly coronavirus. And more than 500,000 Lego bricks are used to build a Vancouver exhibit.
Your Canada. Your Southern Alberta. Your stories. From our studios in the heart of Lethbridge, it's BCN Today with Jeanette Roche.
Hello, and thank you for joining us on this Friday. Canadian researchers are assisting the global effort to develop a vaccine for the new coronavirus that has killed 26 people in China. A special lab in Saskatoon has been granted permission by the Public Health Agency of Canada to start working on a vaccine. The University of Saskatchewan lab says a human vaccine will take at least a year. Canada's Chief Public Health Officer, Theresa Tam, says Canadian research will be shared with the World Health Organization. Meanwhile, more airports are screening passengers arriving from China amid concerns over the outbreak. Over 800 cases of coronavirus have been reported. Dr. Theresa Tam says Canada has no plans to put thermal screeners or other such measures in airports. International travelers are instead being asked to self-report to border officers if they are experiencing flu-like symptoms. The epicenter of the outbreak, the Chinese city of Wuhan, has halted all outbound flights and transportation, and the 12 neighboring cities have followed suit. The lockdown now covers about 33 million people. The WHO is meeting to determine whether or not the outbreak should be declared a global emergency. The Providence Regional Medical Center Everett, north of Seattle, treated the man believed to be the first person in the U.S. to contact the coronavirus. A doctor and nurse spoke to the Associated Press about the experience.
We will wear just standard rubber gloves, and we have a fluid impermeable gown that we'll put on.
In this particular patient, we weren't sure about the degree of contagiousness. We certainly did not want it to spread, so we used the highest level of protection that we have available to treat this patient, as one would Ebola.
The nurse will put it on her head. And then we have the plastic machinery that fits around.
Police in Calgary say high-tech imaging created by DNA phenotyping led to the arrest and the death of an infant found inside of a dumpster on Christmas Eve in 2017. Experts used the process to predict physical appearance and ancestry of the mother and the newborn and compared it to closed-circuit TV video. A 21-year-old woman has been charged with indignity to a human body and failure to provide the necessaries of life. Nina Marie Albright is set to appear in court next month. And as we have reported on Bridge City News, Alberta Premier Jason Kenney is considering either shutting down or moving the supervised consumption sites in our province. A recent panel report suggested that crime has gone up by quite a bit in communities where the drug sites are located. The spokesperson for the Lethbridge Needle Crisis Support weighs in on the recent decision.
I think it's a step in the right direction, honestly. I think it's great that we've finally been heard after all this time. Somebody is listening, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what else he has to lay out for his whole plan. I absolutely think we need detox and rehab and other rehabilitation forms here, and I support that 100%. And I think we could maybe even entwine a supervised injection site in there somewhere, but we can't do that without all the rest of the supports.
We asked people in Lethbridge if the injection site downtown is helpful or harmful to our community.
I think that it's definitely a very controversial topic, but definitely the relocation of the building will be positive on other citizens just because it's around a lot of local businesses. Some may be concerned of safety.
My spouse does work downtown around that area, and from what I've seen, I have absolutely been more concerned about her safety, especially when she's leaving later at night when it is dark, She's had to take extra precautions to watch what's going on around her vehicle before she enters it. She's had people try to get in the vehicle when she's been there. So it's a big concern for me.
I think the facility's useful in terms of giving people a safe place, but I don't think that it's addressing the concern in the community. There's still needles being found in the community. I don't think it's helping the people that it should be helping.
I think a lot of people like to look at people who are addicted to drugs sometimes as if they're not people. And because of that, that means they don't care about them, they just want to sweep them aside. Actually, I think it causes more problems just with, if they're not doing it somewhere safe, then they're doing it somewhere not just where it's not safe for them, but where it's not safe for us and say our children or anything like that. And so I think it's really good that there's somewhere that they can do that and be taken care of as human beings.
A 12-member jury took 3.5 hours to find a 54-year-old man from Raymond guilty on 4 counts of sexual assault and incest. The assaults took place between 2013 and 2018 when the victim, his daughter, was between the ages of 9 and 13. The girl, her mother, police, and family members all took the stand last week describing the incidents that occurred in the family's homes, his truck, and also in a trailer while camping. He's been remanded into custody and is awaiting his sentencing hearing in April. In Canada, incest carries a minimum of 5-year sentence, while sexual assault of a minor carries a minimum 1-year sentence. A memorial for a prominent Alberta First Nations leader will take place this evening. Jason Goodstriker, the former regional chief for the Assembly of First Nations in Alberta, died last week in Slave Lake. The 47-year-old also served as councillor for the Blood Tribe and was a member of a panel tasked with finding a fair deal for the province within the country. An all-night wake for Goodstriker is set to begin at 7 p.m. tomorrow, with a service to follow at 10 a.m. Saturday at the University of Lethbridge. The family of a Lethbridge man who's been missing for 2 months is organizing a ground search of the River Valley this weekend. 27-year-old Marshall Iwasa was last seen on November 17th when he was leaving for Calgary but never showed up. Marshall's burnt-up truck was found in BC, but there's been no sign of him. The family is asking for volunteers for tomorrow and Sunday to help them search. You may contact them through the Facebook page, Find Marshall Iwasa. Some southern Alberta landowners want farmers and ranchers to cut power to oil and gas wells if their owners haven't lived up to the lease agreements. The Action Surface Rights Association says energy companies are increasingly failing to make payments under deals signed with property owners. The association also says the group that regulates such leases is arbitrarily reducing payments to farmers and no longer reimburses them when companies renege. Alberta's rural municipalities have revealed that unpaid property taxes by energy companies have more than doubled in a year to $173 million. Recent reports warn of increasingly deteriorating conditions around the world in the face of global warming. Alberta's challenge is, how do we transition away from an economy based heavily on hydrocarbon production without increasing the social tensions and job losses? Bruce Wilson, who is an engineer and a former GM of Shell, has an idea.
To reimagine itself, I'll use the example of hydrogen as a technology that is a good adjunct to the oil and gas industry and can create the kind of jobs that Alberta is looking for. I think it has to happen in the context of an economy of well-being, where we no longer look at simply GDP as a metric for understanding the health of our societies, but we actually look at other well-being metrics.
The energy sector accounts for almost 30% of Alberta's GDP. Alberta's Auditor General is set to investigate how the province's orphan well problem has become so big. The province has been struggling to clean up 3,400 oil and gas wells left behind by bankrupt companies. There are another 9,400 inactive wells that some worry could also become orphaned and leave taxpayers with the bill. The Auditor General's office says it will look into whether the province is doing enough to prevent wells from becoming orphaned. The former interim leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, Rona Ambrose, announced on her Facebook page that she will not be seeking the leadership of the CPC. The former Harper cabinet minister says she wants to focus on making a difference for the energy industry in the private sector.
Hi everyone, Rona Ambrose here. I want to thank you for all of your messages of encouragement and support to run for the leadership of the Conservative Party of Canada. It is humbling to be considered at all because I love our party, I love the people in it, and I love our country. I have really struggled with the decision to return to political life. I loved my 13 years in public service as an MP, a minister, and especially as leader of this great party. But right now, I'm focused on making a difference through the private sector, creating policy and advocating for our energy sector to create jobs. And my work continues to ensure that all judges in Canada receive sexual assault law training. And the truth is, I love being back in Alberta.
So, who do you think should become the next leader of the Conservative Party of Canada? Do you think it should be Peter MacKay, Erin O'Toole, Marilyn Gladu, or should it be someone else? We currently have a poll on our Twitter page, and we'd love to hear from you. Visit Bridge City News on Twitter. We'll have the results for you on Monday. And it's another spring-like day out there today. That warm temperatures will be here for a while. Complete weather details are on deck right after the break. Stay with us. And welcome back. Here's a look at our weather highlights for today and tomorrow in Lethbridge. Today, look at that, lovely double digits. Hopefully we will get up there. That's our high today, 10 degrees. The low overnight is 2 degrees and not too bad at all. And into tomorrow, Saturday, we're going to have a lovely sunny Saturday with a high of 7 degrees. Could be a little bit windy though. And then ahead for the 5-day forecast, lots of sunshine also for Sunday and Monday with highs of 3, highs of 6 on Monday, and climbing to 9 degrees on Tuesday. 4 degrees is the high on Wednesday, and Thursday's high is back up to 11. Should be a lovely week ahead of us with lots of sunshine and some scattered clouds there as well. The almanac highs and lows for this time of year, they're telling us the average high should be around -2. We're obviously much higher than that right now, which is great news for us. -14 is the low. The high temperature on this day was recorded back in 2005. It was 17 degrees. And the record low was -41. That was back in 1957. The sun rose this morning at 8:15 a.m. and will be setting at 5:12 p.m. I believe it's a couple minutes longer than it was yesterday. Looking over to the nationwide highs, West Coast is going to see some showers today. Victoria's high 11 degrees, 10 degrees expected in Vancouver. High of 1 in Edmonton, and a lovely day in Calgary as well. Similar to here, their high is going to be 7 degrees with mixed and sun and clouds. Looking across the rest of the prairies, there is a fog advisory in effect today for Regina. Their high is -1. -1 also is the temperature in Saskatoon with a mix of sun and cloud. Winnipeg should be seeing some flurries with a high of -4. Over in Toronto, mix of sun and cloud, high of 2 degrees. Ottawa's high 0, and Montreal should see a high today of 1 degree. Mix of scattered clouds there across that region. Looking over into Atlantic Canada, Fredericton should see a high of 0, high of 2 degrees in Halifax today. High of -3 in Charlottetown, mix of sun and cloud. St. John should be expecting a bit of flurry activity there as well with a high of 1 degree as they continue to pull themselves out of that blizzard from last week. And there you go. Up next is Hal Roberts with the Ski Report.
No new snow on Marmot Basin, but there's still a 108 centimeter base. There's been 6 centimeters of fresh snow at Castle Mountain with a 206 centimeter base. Sunshine Village has had 1 centimeter of new snow with a 140 centimeter base. No new snow at Lake Louise, but they do have a 125 centimeter base. Mount Norquay checks in at 67 centimeters. Nakiska had 5 centimeters of fresh powder with a 107 centimeter base. Whistler, BC has had 23 centimeters of new snow and a 239 centimeter base. Panorama just 1 centimeter fresh powder and an 84 centimeter base. And Whitefish, Montana has had 11 centimeters of fresh snow and a 280 centimeter base. And that's a look at your BCN ski report.
Well, the weekend is almost here, and for those that are looking to hit the silver screens this weekend, check out today's daily life hack. For the best sound in a movie theater, sit 2/3 of the way back and as close to the middle as possible. This apparently is where the audio engineer sits when they do the final mix of the movie. And there you go. That's been your daily life hack. I haven't tried that one yet. And speaking of movies, here's Len Benning to tell us what's playing this weekend in your Movie Mill Minute.
A Hidden Life tells the story of an Austrian peasant who refused to fight for Nazi Germany. Putting his life at risk and facing execution, his unwavering faith and his love for his family kept his hopes alive.
I can't swear loyalty to Hitler. I can't.
Do you think your defiance will change the course of things?
If God gives us free will, we're responsible for what we do, what we fail to do.
Motherless Brooklyn is set in 1950s New York. It stars Edward Norton as a lonely detective with Tourette's syndrome. He's seeking to solve the murder of his best and only friend, played by Bruce Willis.
You got a head just like mine, always turning things around. Some people call it a gift, but it's a brain affliction just the same.
You remember what I said?
She doesn't know. She doesn't know.
What don't I know?
Well, many North Americans have decided to lose weight and lead a healthier lifestyle for 2020. But what about our pets? According to a recent story by People magazine, 50% of dogs are obese. As we hear in this next report, pet owners need to do more to help their pooches lose their pouches.
So we've been doing half their size for 18 years, and we always like to include pets. It's such an important cause because 55% of dogs are overweight or obese. So it's important that people are aware that they should be looking at their pet's weight because it has dramatic impacts on their health.
Yeah, so I work out at the Humane Society of Western Montana, and Pearl came in one day when she was very heavy and not doing very well, and I decided that day, after talking with our vet and everyone involved, I decided to take her home as a foster to try to help her lose some weight. She weighed 50 pounds. She was unable to walk more than about 4 or 5 steps before her legs would give out. So she had to be carried everywhere, but I brought her home and we just got started immediately on trying to help her.
I got Shorty from Pitiful Pups, a rescue in Oklahoma, and I walked into PetSmart to pick up a dog for someone else, and I saw a small dog rescue, and I just saw his little gray face, and he looked really miserable, so I just thought it was really cute, and I wanted him.
We loved these 2 stories because they're both rescue pets. Pearl is an older dog. It shows that you really can't, as the saying goes, you can teach an old dog new tricks. So as much as people might shy away from adopting a dog who might be overweight or have some health problems, this shows you can, and you can make a real big difference in a pet's life.
A team of Lego builders has moved into the TELUS World of Science building in Vancouver. The group used more than 500,000 Lego bricks to build the Towers of Tomorrow exhibition.
So this is Towers of Tomorrow. It's about some of the largest towers in the world, both today and planned for the future. At Science World, we're also bringing in a lot of community building. So no building is an island. They exist within the context of a city, within a community, within an ecosystem, and we're trying to emphasize all of those aspects of architecture and city planning. Well, once the kids come in and start building their own, all bets are off. Right now, what you see is what's come in for with the traveling exhibition, and we're putting up a whole bunch of our own. We're working right now on a scale model of the False Creek neighborhood, which includes a few dozen extra buildings. Letting your curiosity and your excitement run wild. There's no limit to what you can build with the Lego that we have here in the gallery for people to just play and build with, to imagine towers of their own creation, what their ideal community might look like. So we're looking at building not just the structures themselves, but the entire context, the cities, the communities, and the ecosystems that go along with it.
There is a strong push to have Canada invest more in solar power and wind farms to help cut down on our carbon footprint. Cody Battershill is the founder of Canada Action, a grassroots organization that supports Canada's energy industry. Cody says green technology is good, but it's important not to put all of our eggs in the green basket.
As Albertans and as Canadians, we can be proud. Alberta had Canada's first wind farm in 1993. We're building Canada's largest solar farm right now. But wind and solar today is not ready, according to Bill Gates, because battery storage is not technologically feasible yet. So as long as the world needs oil and gas, which will be for decades to come, we have to choose if we want to support the best producer with the highest environmental standards, or if we want to bench Canada, and that only benefits other countries and that is bad for the environment.
Watch the entire interview with Cody Battershill and BCN's Paul Arthur discussing the delicate balance between green technology and our energy industry coming up in the second half of our show. But first, here's a look at what's happening in and around your community.
Here's your Bridge City News Community Calendar. Ready to take the plunge? Southern Albertans are invited to take part in this year's Polar Plunge in support of Special Olympics, taking place Saturday, February 1st at Henderson Lake Park from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Every dollar raised goes towards more than 3,300 Special Olympic athletes representing 140 communities across Alberta. Registration is $50 and comes with a pair of Polar Plunge gloves. For more details and to register, visit specialolympics.ca/Alberta Polar Plunge. Night to Shine is an event sponsored by the Tim Tebow Foundation and hosted by My Victory Lethbridge on Friday, February 7th. Night to Shine is an unforgettable prom night experience for people with special needs, ages 14 and older. This complimentary event begins on a red carpet with guests receiving the royal treatment, including hair and makeup stations, limousine rides, a catered dinner, and much more. For details and to register, visit myvictory.ca. And if you'd like to volunteer, email carol@myvictory.ca. The Lethbridge Association of the Blind provides numerous activities for the blind and visually impaired in the Lethbridge area. These events include dinners with entertainment, theatrical performances, local museum tours, bowling, and much more. For more information or to volunteer, call 403-942-1677 or email brownwj@shaw.ca. And that's your Bridge City News Community Calendar.